The Earth isn't my home, Sarah. I'm a Time Lord.
Oh, I know you're a Time Lord.
You don't understand the implications. I'm not a human being. I walk in eternity.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means I've lived for something like 750 years.
Oh, you'll soon be middle-aged.
Yes! By the time I found something better to do than run round after the Brigadier.
Hello YouTubers, welcome to another Doctor Who action figure review. In today's review I'm looking at a first for Doctor Who merchandise. Many of you will remember the prototype of a 12-inch 4th Doctor from Product Enterprise many years ago that was never released, but now Big Chief Studios have remedied that with their 1/6 scale 50th anniversary edition 4th Doctor figure. The 4th Doctor went up for pre-order back in July, but I was able to pick mine up at the Doctor Who Celebration event on the 50th anniversary itself, so that was the perfect day to get not only arguably the most iconic Doctor, but my Doctor. So has this figure been worth the wait? Well, it's a definite yes from me, but let's take a better look at this amazing figure. The figure comes packaged in a brown shipper box featuring the Big Chief Studios logo. The main packaging comes wrapped in polythene to help further protect it. The packaging features the familiar Classic Series design that we see across all Classic Series Doctor Who merchandise. However, on this version the stars have been toned down slightly, and this allows for the chrome foil effect on the diamond logo and the other pieces of text to really stand out. It looks really good in hand, and it really does pop from the rest of the packaging. On the sides of the box are images of the 4th Doctor, which have been taken from the Season 14 publicity shoot, as well as more chrome effects on the Doctor Who logo. The back of the box features the prototype image, as well as a biography about the 4th Doctor and about this figure. Back to the front of the box, rather than being the traditional hinged flap, the entire front piece lifts off the box to reveal the window packaging. This front piece is held on by a series of magnets down the sides, and it works very well. This front piece also doubles as the console room backdrop, but I'll come back to that a bit later. The sides of the interior show off more publicity images of this figure, as well as a list of the full accessories and the specifications. The base of the box details all of the legal information, the credits, as well as confirming that this is limited to 1,000 and stating that this is number 25. Once opened, the box contains 2 trays, one for the figure and the accessories, and another for the display stand and the signature plaque, which you get depending on which version you ordered. So, straight out of the box, you can see the figure is amazing. The tailoring, the head sculpt, it's all top-notch. Starting with the head sculpt, the detail is incredibly impressive. You've got very realistic skin tones, the wrinkles around the eyes are just excellent. Overall, it is a very, very lifelike head sculpt. The portrait captures that more sombre appearance of the Doctor in many of his early stories like Pyramids of Mars, which, as you can see from the costume, this is from those early seasons, so season 13, 14. Now, there was some debate amongst fans, with some people arguing that he looked too sad and that he should come with a grinning head rather than a neutral head. Personally, I love the fact that his head is sombre and morose. You know, the grinning head has been done to death on so many figures. I mean, the Character Options figure had it, the Product Enterprise talking figure had it, the Dapol figure had the grinning head. So that's not to say that I wouldn't like to see them do a toothy grin head for Tom at some point down the line, but I'm just glad that we've got a more neutral version for this release. The sculpting and the paint job on the hair are equally impressive, with lots of different shades of browns that really make the curls on his hair stand out. The hair is also removable, and the figure comes with an alternate hair piece with a hat. Taking off the hatless hair was quite a feat. It was actually sort of plugged in really quite hard, but the other hair swaps in with ease. The hat is a really nice sculpt, and the hatband is actually a real piece of fabric that has been added on, and it works really well. The hat is also removable, so you can pose it with the Doctor, and the detail inside is amazing. You've got the little creases, the little bow. It's very, very high attention to detail. Overall, the head is very impressive, and it looks even better in hand. The camera really doesn't do it justice. However, what I will say, that comparing this production head to the prototype, there does seem to have been something lost within the likeness. Obviously, it's Tom Baker, it's a very good likeness, but having seen both the prototype head and this production head side by side, I think that during production, the head has been squished just a teeny bit, so this has made the head slightly more narrow and therefore a bit longer than it should be. So really it could do with just being compressed a little bit, so the head just shortens and it widens out from the sides. It's only a teeny amount and it's a very tiny nitpick. It's a very lifelike sculpt. Standing next to the Hot Toys Christopher Reeve Superman, Big Chief's Tom Baker doesn't look out of place at all. And I think this is very impressive considering that it's only their 4th figure and they're such a small company, so that really is excellent. Moving on to the tailoring, the costume is done incredibly well. The coat is made of a faux velvet material with a nice satin lining on the inside, so it looks very realistic. The buttons up the sides of the coat and on the back and on the sleeves are all glued into place, and there are some nice details on the lapels and on the back of the coat. The pockets are just represented by flaps, they can't actually use them, and the coat looks so much better than the prototype. It hangs really well, there's no bagginess at the front, the lapels are folded in tight, it's perfect, it looks like a real coat. Around the back, it has a bit more of that baggy, bunched up look that we saw with the prototype, but I think part of that is just all been creased inside the packaging. So you might be able to gently iron those out, but being on the back I don't think is much of a problem. I mean, it took me hours to actually notice that it was like that. The coat's colour is also very good, and I know there was a few photos released where it looked quite red, and a lot of people were getting a bit concerned that it looked more like his Season 12 jacket, the safari jacket, which is actually a very strong red, and I can assure you that it isn't anything like that. And it does look different colours depending on the lighting situation. I mean, here on camera, yeah, it actually does look quite red, but in hand, it doesn't look like that. It looks a lot more burgundy, and when I saw this figure on display at Excel, I thought to myself, oh, the coat colour's fine. So it really just depends on how it's lit. With the coat off, the waistcoat is very nice, the pattern is very screen accurate, and again the pockets are only suggested with the buttons glued into place. At the back of the waistcoat you've got a light brown satin with a strap at the back, which looks really good, and one thing that I'm really happy about is there is no Velcro. Now, the 11th Doctor and Amy Pond that they released featured Velcro on the costume, and so I'm so pleased they've gone for proper poppers. It just looks so much better, and it allows the clothes to hang naturally. The shirt is also very nice with the high collar and the buttons on the cuffs and down the middle, and on the buttons, not just on the shirt but on the waistcoat, they've even sculpted 4 holes onto each button, so that is incredible detail. The cravat is also very good, and it looks very screen accurate, tucked behind his waistcoat, as he often wore it during season 14. Again, it's made of like a satin material, which gives it a very nice silk-like appearance. The cravat doesn't look as good when it's hanging out of his waistcoat, and this is because it just hangs really flat rather than with natural folds. Keeping it tucked in is probably the way to go. The trousers are also very good, and they're quite a close match to what he wears on screen. They even feature working pockets, so that allows for some really good poses. The trousers also feature a pair of braces. I'm not going to remove the waistcoat to show it off, but that's some very impressive attention to detail. You can actually see that around the back it also has sort of a leather effect to it. The scarf's also very good, the colours are an excellent match for the on-screen version, and the pattern is very accurate. I think the reds could maybe do with being slightly stronger because they do look a bit pinky in some light, but that again is just a tiny nitpick. Another thing to mention is that when you get the figure, the scarf is actually the other way around. Now, I swapped the scarf round simply because Tom Baker wears it this way in the programme. In the season 14 photo shoot that's on the box, he does wear it the way that the figure comes packaged, but I think that's just an error simply because it was a publicity shoot. The tassels are also very good, and although they don't feature all 7 collars as per the prop, it does look very good, and it took me a while to notice that it wasn't like that. I was also pleasantly surprised to find that there's actually a wire running through the scarf, which is really good because that means you can pose him in very dynamic running poses and stuff with the scarf flying out behind him and stuff like that. It is a bit tricky to get a natural falling look, but with a bit of patience, it is achievable. The sculpting on the shoes is also very good, and again the paint job makes them look very realistic, even down to the silver rings around the holes for the laces and the worn soles at the bottom of the shoe. He also features some false black socks to complete the look. Overall, I'm really pleased with the costume. It's incredibly accurate, it's very well made, and it just looks fantastic. As with any 1/6 scale figure, there's a very high level of articulation. I'm not going to go through all of it because I'll be here all day, but it allows for very realistic and dynamic poses. So outside of the extra hair and the hat, the figure comes with a wealth of accessories. So we have 8 interchangeable hands to hold these different accessories and allow for different poses, and the hands are swapped using small pegs, just like Hot Toys figures. However, they are a bit different, so I don't think you can use them between the 2 ranges. And actually the hands are a lot better than Hot Toys. Big Chief's hands are slightly rubbery, And this is excellent because it makes swapping accessories so much easier, because with Hot Toys stuff, the hands are made of such a hard plastic that I'm worried that in trying to put a delicate accessory into the hand, that's going to snap. But there's no worry of this with Big Chief's figure. And the actual hand swapping process is so much easier. Because of the rubberiness, they come straight off the peg with no fear of the peg snapping inside the hand. And I've yet to actually swap the peg pieces themselves, and I doubt I'll be using any of the spares. So in this respect, Big Chief really have outshined Hot Toys. In terms of accessories, the figure comes with the Doctor's trusty sonic screwdriver. This is very nicely sculpted, and the paint apps really make it shine. It's got a nice dark wash over the top to give it that realistic metal look. The work on the emitter, especially on the back, is very detailed indeed. Jelly Babers are very good, and they fit snugly into the Doctor's hand, and you can even see the slightly jagged line on the paper bag, which makes it look even more realistic, and it also has a bit of a wash over it to help these details stand out. The yo-yo is probably one of my favourite accessories. It's incredibly detailed with the logo and stuff printed on the front, and it actually works. The string can be unravelled, and you can hook it over the Doctor's pointed finger to make it look like he's playing with his yo-yo. The figure also comes with the regenerated hand of Eldrad from the Hand of Fear. This is another really cool accessory, and it's a very good sculpt, highlighted by some very cool paintwork. It has a very realistic stone-like effect, and looks very much like it does in the story. Finally, he comes with the Key to Time and the Tracer from Season 16. The Tracer, very impressive. It's a clear plastic rod with very crisp paint apps on the buttons for the handle. Sadly on mine, the rod seems to just slide off. It doesn't just fall off on its own, but it can just be removed incredibly easily. But it works well nevertheless. The key looks really cool, looks just like it did in the show. And one of the segments is removable. I'm not sure which segment it is. I'm guessing it's the 6th segment. I wouldn't advise trying to pose him holding the whole key attached to the tracer like he does in Power of Kroll and stuff like that, because I don't think the tracer would take the weight of it and you could risk breaking it. The figure also comes with a light-up display stand that shows off the number 4 in Gallifreyan text. This is a really nice touch and it works very well. It doesn't illuminate the figure, sadly, but it still looks very cool. The icing on the cake is the cardboard backdrop of the TARDIS console room from Season 15 onwards. All in all, the figure is brilliant, and it is easily one of Big Chief Studios' best. The likeness of Tom Baker is very good, and the costume is fantastic. I know I mentioned a few little things, but those really are incredibly minor nitpicks for what is an absolutely fantastic figure. I was lucky enough to see the entire collection on display at Excel, and the 10th Doctor looks amazing, and their Sherlock figures also look fantastic. And they had their first Doctor's head sculpt on display, and that looks brilliant. I really can't wait to see how that full figure turns out. This is definitely a must-buy for anyone who is a hardcore Doctor Who collector, and if Tom Baker's your favourite Doctor, then this is definitely for you. It is absolutely brilliant, and I cannot wait to see what else Big Chief comes up with in the future. The figure is still available to order from Big Chief's website for £169.99, which is no different to what you'd be paying for a Hot Toys figure. And in all honesty, I don't think you could get much closer in terms of quality. And that's coming from someone who owns 3 Hot Toys figures. Very impressive work from Big Chief. I definitely think they're approaching that Hot Toys level. The link to order this item can be found in the description box below, and if you want to get this figure for Christmas, you're going to want to try and order it before the 30th of November. Otherwise, the figure won't be shipping to you until January 2014. So, thanks for watching this review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed having a mess around with this figure. Please check out the blog at batmanmarchreviews.blogspot.co.uk for more reviews and merchandise news. And thanks again, and I'll see you next time.